Hey guys, Cal here today with the brand new body style 2024 GMC Acadia. This is the all-wheel drive Elevation model in Summit White, and this one stickers for $46,270. Now, it's been a little bit of time since I was in the driver's seat of the last generation GMC Acadia, but I wanted to go ahead and look at this brand new GMC Acadia and see if I like it better than the last generation. Let's find out. All right guys, here we are on the front end of the brand new GMC Acadia. Now you will see on the hood they have some little dips and things to give it a little bit more character up here in the front end, if you can kind of get a good look at that. And then these headlights, you will notice, are very similar to the GMC Sierra or the GMC Terrain, whereas in the last generation they're a little bit more oblong. They were just kind of a long headlight. They weren't kind of C-shaped like this. Now you have that daytime running light and that LED turn signal on the outside. You have that LED projector headlamp right there. And then down below you have these very elegant looking, very crafted and beautiful fog lights down below. I love the look of this. They give the front end of the new Acadia such a high-end look down here, and that chrome trim runs into the grille for the intercooler down below, which has some gloss black slats right there with some flat black trim as well around the whole bottom of the bumper. And then on the grille of the brand new GMC Acadia, this particular one doesn't have any blackout packages, so on this elevation you do just have this chrome trim here, and then you will see that you do have some gloss black accents right there, and then in between those gloss black inserts is just these flat black inserts in the grille. You have that beautiful GMC logo front and center, pretty big and prominent on the front, and then right below that logo is your little camera up here, because every single Acadia now is coming with the HD surround vision as standard. Taking a look under the hood of the 2024 GMC Acadia, no matter what trim level you get, whether it's Elevation, AT4, or Denali, they're all going to have the same turbocharged 2.5 liter four-cylinder putting out 328 horsepower and 326 pound-foot of torque, and they're all mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, the last generation's top performing engine was the 3.6 liter V6 putting out 310 horsepower and 271 pound-foot of torque. Now, I know what we're all going to say. That 3.6 liter V6 in the last generation is probably going to be a little bit more reliable over the long term compared to this new turbocharged 2.5 liter four-cylinder, but we don't really know the long-term history of this engine just quite yet, so we can't write it off this early. We kind of have to wait to see how this thing is going to do out in the field. But as of right now, on paper, this is making a lot more power, not only in the horsepower department, but the torque area as well. So I'm very excited to get behind the wheel and see how this compares to the V6 of the last generation Acadia. And as for fuel economy on this brand new 2.5 liter turbocharged four-cylinder, we're looking at about 19 miles to the gallon in the city, 24 miles to the gallon on the highway, and 21 miles to the gallon combined. All right guys, now here we are on the side of the brand new GMC Acadia, and you will see that it does have the body cladding running around the entire bottom of the vehicle, just like the last generation GMC Acadia did. Now, if you step up to the AT4 model, you're going to get these cool little clearance lights on each wheel well, and if you get the Denali model, parts of the body cladding like around the wheel wells are going to be painted body color, so that's kind of cool. And then on this Elevation model, you do have these 20-inch bright silver aluminum wheels, as they call them, as standard. I think they're a pretty good looking wheel. I think they definitely give the entire SUV a pretty upscale, nice look. And you do also have the option to upgrade to some 22-inch gloss black wheels, which are very sharp looking as well. And then on your side mirrors here, you do have this little LED turn signal indicator, which is very, very sharp looking. You have that blind zone alert in the mirror right there. And then on the underside of this mirror, of course, on the top half, as you can see, we have that gloss black paint and then that flat black finish on the bottom. And then you see this little camera on the underside of the mirror, because like I said earlier, this does have HD surround vision, when earlier we saw that camera up in the grille. And then not only on the front door handle, but the rear door handle as well, you do have that passive entry, so that is nice to see. And then running all the way up from the front, right in front of the mirror, all the way to the back and wrapping around this rear window right past the C-pillar back here is a very pretty chrome trim right there. And then on the Elevation model, you do have these black roof rails up here. They're kind of a matte black finish up here. I'm not too sure if you can see that. Definitely think that the whole side profile of this new Acadia is very elegant. It's just very stately, you know, it's just got a lot of sharp edges. It just is a good looking SUV from the side. Coming around to the back side of the Acadia here, I'll click in the fuel door like that and it'll open up for me, and you'll see that there are no messages on the door or inside that say anything about premium, so you can run the 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder on just regular. Coming around the rear end of the Acadia here, you will see these little slats in the taillights here, and as we work our way around, you'll see those LED daytime running lights right there and those LED turn signals right there. These taillights back here and that whole top bar, that black bar across the whole back, just looks so sweet and upscale. And on the Denali, it looks even cooler because it really sets it off. In the middle here, you know, instead of saying GMC, it says Denali right there. So that, with these taillights and that black bar in the middle, that really sets it off on the Denali model. But on this Elevation here, you get the Acadia badging down here. You get that all-wheel drive badge right there. If you have it, you can get this new Acadia in front-wheel drive, just like the last generation. You have that Elevation badging right there. And then down below here, standard on any Acadia is this dual exhaust on each side. And yes, it is a real dual exhaust on each side. You guys can see the exhaust right there. Very big, very cool looking in the rear end. Definitely gives it a very sporty, expensive look back here. And then on the upper section there that we saw earlier, that is a gloss black right there. And then down below here, this is like a gloss silver paint. And then you have some of that flat black plastic in the middle with those parking sensors right there. Now this right here in the middle is your cover for the trailer hitch. Just like the last generation, there's just these two little pins under here that you're gonna take out right there, and that will reveal your trailer hitch in the rear end here. And the towing capacity, when properly equipped on the GMC Acadia, is up to 5,000 pounds. So if you guys have a trailer, a camper, if you guys have a boat you got to take out, the Acadia definitely is going to be able to get the job done for you. All right guys, now taking a look at the trunk of the GMC Acadia. We'll go ahead and hit that button there and it'll pop the trunk, and you guys will be happy to know that in this new generation of GMC Acadia, you can fit more junk in the trunk. And that's because the last generation Acadia had 12.8 cubic feet of space in the trunk behind the third row. This new generation of GMC Acadia now has 23 cubic feet of space behind the third row. So definitely a pretty big improvement in space in the trunk of the new GMC Acadia here. And taking a look in the trunk here, it looks very similar to the Traverse that I test drove last week. You have a little 12-volt plug over here. So if you guys want to plug in an air pump or a vacuum, something like that, you have this little lever here. I can open this little space under the storage compartment here, so it's kind of like hidden storage under here, and this cubby is really deep in here, and these 4 little screws right here can be taken out in order to pick this tray up and reveal the spare tire that is under this tray. And then as for the third row, to drop the third row, just like the last generation, you're just going to go ahead and grab this rope there, pull it down just like that. It's going to drop your headrest, and then you can fold it forward just like that. That second row is going to have to be a little bit further up in order for this to fold completely flat, but this will fold completely flat just like the last generation Acadia did. All right guys, now here we are hopping into the second row of the GMC Acadia. Now I'm 6'2". I'm gonna be sitting behind myself. I have the driver's seat in the same position it just was when I was just driving. I didn't move it at all. And in this second row, with this seat all the way back, I do have a good amount of space. It is all the way back right here. So I do have a good amount of space between me and the driver right now, but with this second row chair all the way back, how tight is the third row? We're gonna go ahead and check it out. All right guys, climbing into the third row here, you will see on the door panel here, we do have this kind of fake digitalized wood pattern here on the door right there, and then you have that chrome trim right there, and then some padded leather on the door right there with those Bose speakers down below. Now it is time for the moment of truth. So here we are. I'm gonna go ahead and climb into the third row. This one does come with some very nice all-weather mats, by the way. Probably a good idea if you have kids, because these are really helpful. So here we go. By the way, kids do have their own little USBs in the third row. And oh, okay. So I'm sandwiched in between the little armrests here. I just kind of was sandwiched in between there, but we're gonna go ahead and try and get behind here. And I'm actually surprised with how far in I got. I feel like I got a little bit further in this third row than I did in the Traverse that I was checking out last week. So I am pretty impressed, but still, as you can see, that knee is just chilling out in the aisle. Definitely not making it behind the seat, being 6'2". Now what we're gonna do, just like I did in the Traverse, we're just gonna go ahead and pull this second seat forward pretty much as far as it can go. As you can see, the distance is not that big. There's definitely gonna be a little one chilling in the second row if it is that close, but now I'm gonna go ahead and try to sit behind the second row here. And with this second row seat all the way forward, I can finally tuck behind it with maybe like an inch of knee space there. And yeah, I got my little cup holders here. I got my little USB cell phone charger right there. And just like we had in the third row of the Acadia, you do have some cup holders right here for the second row passengers as well. And then the second row passengers are gonna have their own little cell phone chargers and a household power outlet to plug in a laptop or something like that down below. And then of course they do have their climate control in the rear end as well, right there. And then your temperature control, and then up top you have those vents, just like we did in the last generation. All right, now it's time to check out the front seat space of the new GMC Acadia. So we're gonna go ahead and hop in and we're gonna check out legroom here. Now, again, I am 6'2" here, and with my foot on the footrest and my foot on the gas pedal as well, I do feel just a little scrunched up with my legs. Like I can sit back pretty comfortably, but as far as my legs go, I would like to have a little bit more room to kind of stretch out on a road trip or something. But if you are a little bit shorter, or your legs in general are shorter than mine are, you are going to be able to fit in the Acadia front seat perfectly. All right guys, and checking out the front seat of the new Acadia, you will see that the door panels do look exactly the same as what we just saw in the back seat, with those Bose speakers down below as well. And then you have this little button down here right in front of your door pocket up here. You can go ahead and hit that if you guys are making a Target run or you're headed to Goodwill. That will go ahead and start popping the trunk open for you. Now I have to say, these Cortex seats, while they are pretty cushy and pretty comfy, and they are very, very easy to keep clean, I have to say, in the sun here, this seat has been sitting in the sun for a good minute here now, and it's been able to heat up. And these Cortex seats do get just as hot as leather on a summer day. I just sat down in the seat, I was kind of stunned. And unfortunately, what kind of sucks about the new generation of GMC Acadia is that these Cortex seats, these leather vinyl seats, whatever you want to call them, these are the only seats available. It's not like the last generation of Acadia where you did at least have the option of cloth seats. Now on every single GMC Acadia, it is all leather optioned, or Cortex as they call it. And now we'll go ahead and put our foot on the brake and hit the push button start back there, and it comes to life just like that. Don't mind the fuel level low, we'll clear that out right there. So you'll see the dashboard here. This is your main setup that pops up when you first start it up. This is the Google Maps that you do have to pay 25 bucks a month for through GM in order to keep these Google Maps up and running, not only on your dash but on the main screen as well. And then if you hit this little button down here, that's what's going to change your dash setup. So you see the little speedometer over there, the forward collision alert setting right there in the center of the screen. And then you switch it over there, you got a third setting with the tach and the speedo right in the middle of the screen, with some other info on the sides there. And then back to that third option right there. I kind of do like this option the best because it's kind of nice to see the map and the speedo all in one, but I don't think I would pay the 25 bucks a month to keep that running. So I guess I would have to figure out another screen to choose once I run out of that subscription. And then to the left of the steering wheel, you're gonna see this little instrument panel that looks like it was taken straight out of the Chevy Traverse that I test drove last week. It has an electronic parking brake off to the left side there, a little button to select your drive modes right there. You got sport mode, you have off-road right there, which has like some stones and things beneath you on the ground. You have snow and ice mode right there, and then back to normal mode. And then to the right side of that, you have the button to engage and disengage your all-wheel drive. You'll see that little switch over happen on the bottom left of your dash. And then you have the button to shut off the auto stop start. Thank God for that. Definitely turn that off before our drive later. And on the steering wheel here, this does look exactly like the steering wheel straight out of the GMC Canyon, which I'm happy about because I really do love this steering wheel. And you see that it has this beautiful polished aluminum trim look around the whole steering wheel here. And on the left side, you have all your cruise control things right here, and then a little button to put it into low gear if you get stuck in the snow or something like that. And then over here, you have the button for your heated steering wheel, and then you have the button for your voice functions for your phone. Right below the voice function button, you have a little switch to pick up and hang up your phone calls, and then a little button to accept any messages that pop up on the dashboard. You can clear those messages out by pushing in on that. And then this button right here is just going to switch your sources for the radio. Up top on the dashboard, you'll see this little pattern in the speaker in the middle of the dashboard, and it looks just like the pattern that we saw on the speakers on the doors themselves. So I do like how they have run that in a second spot on the interior. Definitely love the look of that. The whole dashboard has a very high-end look because it's kind of multi-tiered, as you can see there. So there's just a lot of elements to it. It's very pretty. This 15-inch touchscreen in the middle, we'll go over that right now. We have that little home button up on top, which will bring us back here, and it is a lot to look at on the home screen. I wish they made this a little easier to look at. Now, of course, you can see everything. You know where everything is. You got the Apple CarPlay right there, the Android Auto up in the top right. Now, you can see everything, but I wish it was just organized a little bit better, maybe cleaner looking and more kind of portioned off. I don't really know how to explain it, but when you click into the home screen here, sometimes it can be a lot to look at. The audio is right down here, so we'll go ahead and hit that. And as you can see, the response time on the screen is pretty quick. When you hit something, it opens up. You have that Google Assistant. That's another part of the Google Maps that you do have to pay for once it runs out. So once that subscription runs out, you will not have that Google Assistant anymore. The Play Store is to download more in-vehicle apps for you. The camera, we'll go ahead and take a look at that HD surround vision. You'll see when I'm turning the wheel, you can eventually see the rim and the tire come out of that front right corner of the camera as I turn to the right. And then you can kind of play with all the other buttons there to get some more views outside of the car. How cool is that? That is pretty sweet that this is now on every single GMC Acadia. I definitely love to see that. Right down to the bottom left side of the screen, you do have the phone button there. So if you hit that, you're going to find all your contacts and things right in that screen right there. And then if you scroll down, you are going to see a little Google News thing. So they have so many things on here. Look at Google Podcasts. So many things on here to encourage you to continue paying for that in-car Google services. So they really try to ring you in as good as they can with all of these things that you can choose inside of the car, just so you can pay for that subscription. Now, the controls down here, this is how you're going to turn on your fog lights. And then just like the GMC Canyon, the new Chevy Colorado, the new Chevy Traverse, this is how you turn on your headlights down here. You have to go in there like that. No longer is there a little switch or, you know, any kind of stalk or anything like that. That's just your wipers over there. This is all now right in here. That is going to be how you're turning on your headlights. I don't know really who thought that was a good idea, but that is how you are turning on your headlights now, right down there on the digital screen. And then at the bottom of this 15-inch touchscreen, you will see that all your climate controls are still physical. You see all the controls right down here. When I hit up on this, you will see the temperature start to change right there. And then the fan speed button, you can see in the middle right down there. So everything is physical aside from a few things. The heated seats, you have to hit on the screen right there in order to turn on. And then the fan position, what position you want the air going in, that has to be changed on screen as well. So I do wish that they would have made those two things physical buttons as well. I don't know about you guys, but for me, as far as climate control things go, I don't care how fancy the car is, how high tech it is. I want every single climate control button to be a physical button, because I hate when you're going down the road and you have to look down at a touch screen to find out what you're doing with your fan position or your heated seats. I just think that is just not a good idea. I really like to have everything as a physical button. Right below the touch screen, you will see this little wireless cell phone charging pad. I think this is coming in every Acadia now, so I do not have a case on my iPhone, and I was still getting a little trouble getting it to charge. So as far as my review goes, I don't think this wireless charge pad works that great. Down here, you do have a little USB Type-C and a USB Type-A right in that little tunnel right there. as well as a little spot to set maybe another cell phone or maybe a pen or something, toss it in there. And then you have these cup holders here, which I was able to fit my 26-ounce Yeti tumbler into just enough to the point where I don't think it would really tip in the corners or anything like that. I think it would hold it just enough. So if you have a Stanley or something like that you're trying to put in the cup holders up here, I do think that it will fit. And then if we open up this center storage cubby here, you will see that the top of it has this nice padded leather up top. And if we open it up, you'll see that there's a little tray up top. Go ahead and take the Yeti again, go ahead and set it in there, and we're gonna see, oh, look at that, it shuts. Big storage cubby in the front of your GMC Acadia. All right, guys, taking the brand new GMC Acadia out onto the road, and the first thing I'm noticing is that I love the feeling of the steering wheel in my hand. Like I said, I did find this steering wheel in the GMC Canyon that I just reviewed a few months back, and I absolutely love this steering wheel. It's got great 10 and 2 grips, just a great feeling in the hand overall. The leather feels awesome. And then behind the wheel, you have these very plasticky, very cheap little paddle shifters that I don't think anybody will actually use, because they're probably some of the worst feeling paddle shifters I have ever felt in any car. So we're gonna go ahead and make a right turn onto this road, and we're gonna see how she does for acceleration. Wow, oh my God, that was quick. This is performance that you would have expected out of a car 10 years ago, and now we have SUVs being able to corner this well and accelerate this well in this modern day and age. It's just absolutely incredible. Now, this Acadia doesn't have the same off-road suspension that the Traverse that I just test drove last week did, so the bumps in this are a little rough. I mean, it is an SUV, this isn't like a car or anything, so yeah, of course the bumps are going to be rough, but if you're going down a smooth road just like this one and there's no like crazy potholes or anything, the road noise in here is very quiet. It's a very relaxing cabin to be in. And what I'm noticing about the acceleration in the new Acadia here compared to the old V6 that was in the last generation, you know, when you were in that, you felt like you were having a lot of fun because the V6 up front was loud and the transmission was a little sloppy in the last generation. It wasn't horrible, but it was a little sloppy, so there was a lot of drama that happened when you were accelerating, so you felt like you were going quickly. In this new generation, however, you are getting going just as quick as you were in the last generation that had the V6. With this new engine now, the transmission is really smooth, but this 4-cylinder has a very coarse engine note, so sometimes you don't feel like you're going fast because all you're hearing is a 4-cylinder under the hood. So we don't really associate a 4-cylinder with something that is quick, so sometimes it is a little strange to think you are going quickly in this car when you have a 4-cylinder like that. So now it's in sport mode. We're gonna go ahead and see how quickly we can accelerate. We're gonna take it down a little bit. All right, just like this, and let's go. Sport mode. Whoa! Oh man, I'm pretty sure I got wheel spin there. Wow, this thing is very quick. That is impressive. All right, guys, and as for the steering, it does have some pretty sharp steering even when you are at speed like this, but even though it has that nice quick turn in, that nice darty steering, it still feels a bit numb in the steering wheel at speed. But when you are at lower speeds, like you're taking off from a dead stop, you are able to kind of feel what the front wheels are doing, so it seems to kind of become numb at higher speeds. But this is just sort of a pedestrian SUV, so I suppose we don't need sports car steering, but it is nice to be able to feel what the front wheels are doing regardless of what car you're in. All right, guys, now it's time to round out my thoughts on, is the new GMC Acadia better than the last generation GMC Acadia? I'm gonna say yes for a few reasons. Number one, you do have this trunk back here that is now substantially bigger than the last generation Acadia was, so that is a win back here. In the front seat, that radio screen, that 15-inch radio screen, it is big, but it is a little disorganized, whereas the last generation GMC Acadia, that screen was very easy to use. Even though it was a little long in the tooth with that design, it was starting to get a little outdated by some people's definitions, but by my own definition, I think it was still a great system to use, easy to use, not a big TV screen like this one is, but it was easy to use. So I hope they can clean up the design of this 15-inch touchscreen and make it a little bit easier to look at in general. That new digital dashboard is really, really nice to look at, very crisp. The graphics look great. I do like the Google integration, even though I probably wouldn't pay for it. I do like the look of the Google Maps integration. And lastly, for this new generation, I do like the exterior's new redesign. I love the back end with those LED taillights. They're really, really high-end looking, very expensive looking in the rear end. And then the front end, those new C-shaped headlights are very fancy, very muscular looking. I think this whole SUV looks great on the outside. But if you're a current GMC Acadia owner, I don't think I would spend all the extra money to upgrade to this one. I'd probably hang on to mine a little longer, especially if it did still have the V6 under the hood. I just think maybe give this one a couple years to get some gremlins worked out if it does have any, and then maybe looking to getting one later, but I don't think I would upgrade my personal Acadia at this time. Okay guys, that wraps it up for my review of the 2024 GMC Acadia Elevation. If you have any questions for me that I didn't answer in this review, leave them down below in the comments section. I'm pretty good at getting back to people. I just wanted to give a special shout out to my friends over at Bob Johnson GMC for letting me use this Acadia to review for you guys. I'll have all their info in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this review. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video.